Start recording.
Yeah, I think you got it, Tony.
Yes. So impressive. Okay. All right, we're going to call this regular meeting of the Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission to order Thursday, October 19th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. on the dot. I'm going to do roll call. Jonathan Kastner, I don't see you on the screen. You're not here. Fred Jordan
I'm here.
and Alan Parody. Nope. Right. Brian Phillips. And Stan Reinheimer.
Here.
Plastic. Marion Stay
Here.
and Daniel Smith.
Here.
So, Dan, I'm gonna seat you for, I guess you take your pick, Jonathan Kastner, Alan Parody. Okay. Okay, so there's at least 4 of us. 5 of us. Not Tony Bolduc, by the way. I always forget to add that. On to item 2, audience of citizens. Citizens may address the commission on items that are not on the agenda. So John, keep it under control over there.
I'll try.
You guys- Approval of minutes. September 21st, 2023, regular meeting minutes. I take it you guys all read it. And if you have anything that you want to add or correct, please let me know. If not, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Marion. Good for a second.
Second.
Daniel. Stan
Yes.
and Fred.
Yes.
Ready? On to item 4, old business, open space acquisition fund. This is a request by the Deep River Land Trust to expend a portion of the municipal open space land acquisition fund for the purchase and preservation of 136 Rattling Valley Road, map 64, lot 21. And so we voted on this last time, and I think there was just some questions about how this would work out afterwards. So, John, take it away.
Yeah, so I just wanted to follow up on this. So first of all, yeah, so the commission voted not only to approve the town's role in sale from a planning commission perspective, which is to say the Connecticut General Statutes Section 8-24 referral. So that was appreciated. So it now goes to it went to the Board of Selectmen, who approved and sent it to town meeting. Town meeting is 1 week from right now. It'll be the 26th of October at 7:00 at Town Hall. So we would encourage everyone to show up and support the town's participation in the purchase. But there is still the final details of how this purchase and ultimate disposition is going to work out. And I just wanted to kind of get a statement from the commission. I think the land trust would prefer that it be under town ownership, but the town, which is to say discussions with Angus, would prefer not to hold it fee simple without any encumbrances on it. So my suggestion was that we make a recommendation, either at or following the town meeting, that allows us to participate in the purchase, to recommend that the land go to the town, fee simple, and the town place an easement on it in favor of the land trust, who would have the authority to monitor and do whatever required maintenance may be needed to keep it in an appropriate condition, so that both parties have a stake in keeping it open. So that would be my recommendation to the commission to make that formal recommendation to the town.
Okay. I mean, that all seems reasonable to me. I see we have somebody who's on both commissions on here. Any input from you, John W.?
Yeah, so I think so I'll put on my land trust hat first. So obviously, yeah, I don't think we would I don't want to speak for everyone, so we would have to go before our board to kind of discuss that. I don't think we would be opposed to it. Then to put on my wetlands conservation hat, I think, yeah, I think we need to. I think it would be good to have a conversation with the Conservation Commission as well to keep them in the loop as well, so we can kind of hash out those details.
Okay, but you don't think that the Conservation Commission would mind the land trust being able to have stewardship over that?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I just think it's in good business just to kind of keep all parties involved and kind of up to date with the situation. But like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't see it being an issue.
Okay, all right. Anybody else questions or comments? If not, do we have to make a motion, John, or?
I think it would be great if the commission wanted to sort of have a formal recommendation to essentially the town concerning the final disposition of this land.
Question, who has jurisdiction over the adjacent parcels?
The town ordinance states that it is owned by the town, but controlled by the Conservation Commission.
The adjacent land, Tony?
Yeah, in Canfield Woods. And then across the street is owned by the land trust, not the town. So this is the piece that makes that connection. So it's it's going to be a hybrid thing, and the land trust did kind of spearhead this.
Okay.
The Rattling Valley parcels to the south are owned by the town. Or I should say the Canfield Woods.
Anybody else? If not, John, your motion was pretty long there, so I'm just gonna say, does anybody want to make John's motion?
I'll make John's motion. This is Dan.
Thank you, Stan. Looking for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel. Marion?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, there you go.
All
right.
Nancy, when you're doing the minutes, if you need me to restate that, let me know.
I got it. Thanks, John.
Sorry, on to item number 5, new business, zoning amendment, Public Act, 23-142, daycare facilities, applicant Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission. This is just receipt of application. Unless you want to give a spiel, Zoe or John.
Yeah, Zoe, you want to take it?
Yeah, so this is for some amendments we have to make to the zoning regs. The Public Act is specifically for family childcare and group childcare run out of somebody's home. So the proposed amendment would be to add language aligning with the state's new regulations, basically saying that the approval, it would have to be approved to allow home childcare given a few specific conditions, the most important of which is being licensed by the Office of Early Childhood. But beyond that, it can't be treated differently than how we would do other regulations for, in the case of Deep River, single family homes, really. But I did also add in an additional thing because
Where do you want me to scroll down? Please?
yeah, so basically something I noticed is, and you can see here from the screenshot on the tables, daycare facilities are listed in the tables of uses. And then beneath it, there's adult daycare and child daycare. And then John, if you scroll down, adult daycare facilities do have definitions included and some more specifics about them, but child daycare facilities don't have anything in the zoning regs. So I'm suggesting that we also add in something for child daycare facilities. So that would actually, that's not related to the home childcare, but it is related to, if we have it in our use table and the other types of daycare facilities are defined we should probably also define the child daycare facility.
Makes sense.
So
Right, we even had doggy daycare up there, so.
yeah, there's animal facilities and adult, and then nothing for children.
Right.
Yes.
We
Alright,
could just
that-
call it, we could call it fur and other babies.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
So,
All right, so it's a couple of, you know, related zoning amendments and definitions surrounding this public act.
and then,
Sorry,
Question,
Yeah,
are
go
there
ahead.
any provisions in here for, how are these regulated in terms of health and safety, fire, et
Those are-
cetera?
that's a state licensing process.
And does our zoning regulation require them to be state licensed?
Yes. Well,
That's-
it will be.
It will be,
At-
it will be.
Right now, there's no specific language around home childcare either, if I'm remembering correctly, because I went through the regs. So, but the amended regulation will reference both how the state defines home childcare, and then the condition of it will be licensing through the state.
how
And then the
can-
state has a bunch of requirements in order to obtain licensing.
How can we approve that without those amendments in place? When we don't even know what they are,
What amendments, Fred?
as far as health and safety regulation.
Those are
Licensing.
state licensing requirements that are already in place at the state level.
Right, but does our zoning ordinance say that they're required to have that, is my question.
That's
Well,
what we're
we're-
proposing. We are proposing that you, in order to cite a home or child daycare in Deep River, you have to have licensing from the state first, and then you can,
That was my question, thank you.
Yeah, no, so that will be part of the amendment, and actually, that's also another reason why it would be good to add in the definitions for child daycare centers, because right now, you know, there's nothing defined in what the conditions are for running those, even though they're allowed as a use. Because it's not in the regs right now at all. So,
okay. Well, so this is just to accept this application anyway. This has to go to a public hearing. So we have to set this for the next meeting, which is, of course, I'm not prepared.
Oh,
With
just,
this.
third Thursday is the 16th.
16.
Thanks, good.
Thank you. All right, so looking for a motion to set a public hearing for this item on November 16th.
so moved.
Thank you, Marion. Looking for a second.
I'll second it, Stan.
Thank you, Stan. Fred,
Yes,
Daniel,
Yes,
right? Also item under number 5 is item B, Gateway Conservation District, 14.4, regulation update discussion.
So I figured, Tony, we'd want to revisit this a little bit. We've had, and I'll you feel free to jump in. But the Gateway Conservation, whatever they're called, board body, has proposed some amendments to the zoning regulations for adoption by all of the Gateway communities. And we have, you know, in our zoning regulations, section 14, we have adopted the prior version of the zoning regulations regulating activity in the Gateway Conservation District. The changes that they have made and that have been, they're sitting there on the OneDrive, and we can bring those up if you want. Deal with definitions primarily, and then also some lighting standards. We have collectively, sort of led by Tony and Angus and myself, been a little bit hesitant to jump on board with the new Gateway regulations, in part from basically sort of a philosophical disagreement with the way that the Gateway District boundaries are drawn in Deep River, and which is to be fair, not the responsibility of the Gateway Commission itself, but rather was established by state statute. And I just want to show you here, if you can see the map. The green outline is the Gateway Conservation District. So any projects over a certain type and size that occur in the green shaded area have to go through a Gateway review. And I'm just noting, I'm muting folks. I'm getting some feedback. Anyway, and so if you look, I'm zooming in on the Essex Deep River line here. You know, the Essex line seems to, you know, sort of be the ridge to the immediate west of North Main Street and Book Hill Road. And then when you hit the Deep River Essex boundary, it takes a violent westerly turn and goes all the way to 154 and creates a sort of this additional triangle. Whereas it, you know, it should probably naturally follow Book Hill Road to Essex Road. It picks up, you know, all the way to Main Street, and kind of traces its way back to the northeast. And basically this triangle here between Rattling Valley Hill, the town line, and up Main Street represents a fairly major, you know, commercial industrial area in Deep River, as well as, you know, part of Canfield Woods and things like that. But you know, we have, this is, you know, down here specifically is a development area for the town that is kind of, you know, over scrutinized and over regulated by the Gateway Commission in a way that is really shouldn't be their business, because it does not affect the river corridor at all. And so we have sort of raised that as a sticking point before a cooperation on this. We met with the Gateway folks, including the gentleman formerly from the River Museum, whose name is escaping me right now. What's his name? Anyway, the former head of the Connecticut River Museum, who lives in Deep River and represents us on Gateway, has said that they.
I did not ask that. I would remember too.
Yeah, has said that they would be willing to discuss the way that the land in here in that triangle area was regulated by Gateway. Obviously, again, it would take literally an act of state Congress to change these boundaries, and we can work on that. But in the meantime, we were proposing that the Gateway regulations themselves kind of back off of this particular zone when it came to regulatory scrutiny over development. And so that's that part of the story. But Gateway, thank you, Jerry. Gateway would like us as a commission to consider the new Gateway regulations and in an upcoming, because again, these regulations are sort of created and enforced by the Gateway Commission, but live inside our own zoning regulations. So they would like us to consider their proposed amendments to our zoning regulations. So I'll stop there and answer questions, or Tony, if you want to add any color.
No, I'm
Oh,
jaded on this one, so.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mary. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time. I don't see my usual hand raising thing. I've got just a couple of questions. And it may need to be answered at the next meeting. But I went and printed what I think Steve had printed a while ago, but there's no date on it. So I'm hoping it's the correct version, and it has both black and blue printing as well as red printing. And if you look at section 14-4-4-1, number 1, there's a sentence that has a typo.
All right,
That
hey,
may-
hang on, Marion, I'm gonna share my screen. I think I have the document you're looking at. Does this look right?
Yes, yes,
14.4 point where?
1. 144441.
Oh,
So it's after
4441.
sedimentation. Yes, it's in
Yeah.
the red.
4441.
1.
Yep, here.
And it's number 1 under exceptions. And it's that, see that no?
Oh, that should be,
It
wait,
doesn't
only,
make any sense whatsoever. I was trying to figure out what it could be.
no exceptions to review by special permit are permitted for development on parcel fronting the Connecticut River, or only one lot removed inland from the Connecticut River. Or, this should probably be or
Okay,
if significant, yeah, that should be an or.
okay. Okay,
So so this is the full markup. And again, this is in the OneDrive. So they're proposing several new definitions, changing the definition of the coastal jurisdiction line to update the technical reference. They're adding definitions for the Connecticut River, for the conservation zone, for developed area, a definition for enlarge and or extend. And again, all of these are related specifically to 14.4 gateway conservation. Height, they're defining height. They're adding definition of light pollution, redefining member towns, and riparian area and riparian vegetative buffer. So all of these, again, are text amendments that are in support of terms used by the gateway regulations, which is again section 14.4. They're beefing up the erosion and sedimentation control measures, and again, it would just be in that gateway area that we saw in the shaded green. I don't know, did they change this one that much? 14.4. Oh yeah, so they're adding requirements regarding these larger square footprint houses in the gateway area, as well as exemptions, and then adding requirements or prohibitions on excessive illumination, as well as differentiating commercial and non-commercial timber cutting. So there's a fair number of changes, none of which I think are excessive given an overall philosophy of buy-in with conservation districts authority. And I think some of our questions were regarding how this commission feels about continuing to essentially play ball with the Gateway Conservation District's authority.
So I was gonna say nothing, but they are all good changes. They're all, consistent with other towns that I've seen. But again, do we make the holdout until they start, like John said, playing ball, in other areas of town? Like, why do they have, their purview is in sight of the Connecticut River, and there isn't a chance that you're gonna see anything commercial unless it was over 300 feet tall. From the Connecticut River in our industrial area. So that's, I mean, it's, I don't know. I'm, like I said, I'm on the fence about this. I do want to mention that, Tanner, the chair of, Inland Wetlands, sent a letter in recommendation of adopting the lighting standards. So we should probably add that to the OneDrive.
Oh, Tanner,
yeah,
he
he
send
sent
that
the
to you?
letter.
Did I get it? Did we get it?
Yes, it was way back in June.
Oh, okay.
I
All
just
right.
dug it out of my trash.
I'll put it in. I mean, we haven't,
Yeah.
I'll put that in a public hearing record if we set a hearing.
So we're just looking to see if we want to add this to the agenda or if we're still doing a hold up. Is that kind of what we're after?
Yeah,
here?
I just want to revisit this because we have had some recent discussions on it, and I want to make sure that the commission is in the loop about what the request is and what some of the concerns are.
So what prohibits us from amending it to say that does not apply to this area? Why can't we do that?
It's a good question. I
Like
think
that.
that, yeah.
I mean, if we're
Is that
if we're gonna
we-
say this goes by what
essentially-
we're writing anyway, we're accepting
If
their
we
stuff.
essentially exempt, I wonder if we can, I guess maybe that's a question
Hmm.
that I would want, I don't know, maybe our attorney to take a look at. Could we essentially exempt ourselves from overall standards?
Oh, a zone, it said zone.
Yeah, the
You
commercial
made a suggestion of the Essex Road, maybe that's it. I don't know, but definitely over the hill, what's on the other side of the hill where the industrial district is, commercial district.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll play ball. We're not
Yeah.
including this part.
Well, I mean, everything else is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants light pollution out there.
No, or in general.
And I guess I mean, to game it out, Daniel, what prevents us in theory
Yes.
is the Gateway Commission themselves. I forgot to mention this part, which is in most cases, the Gateway Commission's input is strictly advisory, as we saw with some of those larger houses that were being built along River Road. Gateway Commission does comment. Commission isn't bound by them. The nuance there is they do have veto power over any proposed text amendments.
Yeah,
To
you left
vote
that part
on it.
out. You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
I mean,
so
if we accept
we-
everything else, though, it was a big smile and just put it like in, at the
Right.
end. Or mix it,
So
or mix
they-
it
I
in
mean,
different
yeah.
parts.
So they do have some authority over how regulations get approved and not. But yeah, I mean, we could certainly propose that. And they did seem willing to listen.
And we could do it by exception permit, maybe. Sorry, Mary.
Well, should
No,
should
it's
we?
all right.
So are you gonna check with the attorney and we'll, like, if it's something we can do, or do you just think?
Yeah, there's gotta be a
I'll-
formal path.
Yeah, I maybe shoot him a quick email about that procedure. But so we'd have to craft something about, maybe we'd probably want to put it right at the beginning of 14.4, that these regulations shall apply to the Gateway.
If you want to be
Commission,
transparent, yeah, yes.
with the exception of a triangle, between between Main Street, the town line, and Rattling Valley, or something like that.
Okay, so
Well, it aligns with our town zoning, so it isn't like we're throwing a line somewhere that was never there before. It's already the commercial district.
Yeah.
we need a
so
motion.
So, I mean, if you guys just want to direct me to do that, that's fine. I don't think you need a motion, and then we'll come up with, if it's something that we can do. We can incorporate that into our proposed amendment. Then Zoe and I will craft something for an upcoming meeting.
Sweet.
I
Sounds
think
good.
the problem that I have with this is that it's not in a way specific enough. I mean, when you look at the lighting, I mean, it's a great idea, but who decides how
Accessory.
bright something is?
Yeah.
When there's a complaint, how do
Mhm.
we enforce it?
Well, what we do is now we have Zoe here. We send her out there in the dead of night, and see if she's bothered.
That's exactly the plan now.
But
Other
that is a real
Great.
concern. And having been in zoning enforcement, especially when neighbors decide they don't like each other because of a barbecue or a remark, and they start complaining. And we have that with the sound. If they said no lighting above 45 watts, maybe you could, but they don't. It's just kind of a vague, it's just very vague.
You know what? Marion brought up a good point. So we had we had noise a noise regulation in our planning and in our regulations. And we had the attorney look at it and he's like, yeah, this is all well and good, but it means nothing. So, I mean, do we send this to him and have him look at it and go have the same answer? He could say, yeah, these lighting standards mean nothing and they're not enforceable unless you say blah. Cause that's, I think it was, Attorney Roberts that said that. Robert, no. Oh, God, I can't
I
remember.
remember the exercise, but
Yeah, I can't remember which one was there. But yeah, it was basically, yeah, these are all good, but they don't align with the state standards, so you can't use them. So, should we ask that question also?
Yeah, could you ask, tell me what the question I'm asking again?
So, when we had the sound standards,
Oh,
they
yeah,
said
that was.
they don't align with the
yeah,
state standards and you can't use them.
Right.
So is there a thing for
Well,
lighting?
yeah, no, I mean, so that's a little bit different. I mean, because the gateway is the enforcement entity, but they don't adopt the standards locally.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
but there's no standards listed. I mean, it just
Oh, you mean
says,
specifically for lighting? Oh, okay. You mean, yeah, for lighting, yeah, there is no state standard for lighting the same way there is for sound.
right, but there's even in this regulation, it just says the minimum necessary for health and safety. Well, who determines that?
Yeah.
I
well,
mean,
it's-
you
if
know,
it's a
somebody,
zoning regulation, it's the zoning officer. Yeah, which is no place we want to be.
Sounds like you phoned it off on Zoe anyway, so I think you're good.
make sure she has trifocals on when she's
Yeah.
enforcing it.
I prefer to keep her longer than we were able to keep Steve, so we'll back off.
Okay, anything else for this? If not, I'm gonna move on to reports.
Okay.
Right. If not, actually, I lied. So we're gonna, I remember I sent that, about new business, the removal of the 400 square foot minimum for building size, so. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but the zoning amendment they're looking at for daycare facilities, farther down in that, all the jargon that the state put forward, there's also the removal of, you can't require, a house to be
Right.
less, you can't have a minimum anymore. It's, the building code says there is no more minimum and you're not allowed to have a minimum size for homes anymore. And we do have that in our zoning regulations in, I think, 2 places.
So, yeah, so if you wanted to maybe have a motion to amend the proposed zoning amendment that we're having a hearing on next month to basically throw the elimination of arbitrary minimum dwelling unit size into that amendment as well. So we'll just cobble that in to this zoning amendment.
Not to add on to this because it's slightly different, but a year ago, we did get a letter from another letter from Deep that said we had problems under our forestry regulations. There was a letter October 19th. And if we're going to be changing the gateway and doing daycare, we might want to make sure at the same time or very shortly thereafter that we deal with that one too. Because
Yeah,
we're changing.
I don't know. I would prefer to hold off on that one. I need to have conversations with this guy at the state, the forester. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure I think he may be promoting a best practice that's not actually a regulatory change.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. I just, when you start.
Yeah.
Redoing.
As long as we're putting up a Christmas tree, we might hang all the ornaments on it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I would just prefer we'll add the dwelling unit size on this one and close the book.
That's
on
fine.
it.
We don't seem to have a lot of active tree cutting anyway.
No.
At least unless it's street trees.
Well, we don't have any 200 square foot houses either, but
Yeah.
so do we have to go back and make the motion again?
You, yeah, yes, I would say, to basically amend the application for, let's, yeah, amend the application for text amendment to also include the removal of, minimum dwelling unit size regulation.
Perfect. Marion, you made that motion. You okay with the amendment?
Fine, so moved.
I believe Stan seconded it.
He says hand up.
Fantastic. Fred?
Yes,
Where's my hands?
Daniel?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. On to item 6, reports. ZEO. I'll just let you go through the numbers yourself.
Okay, well, so first is timely, we're actually just exchanging emails on this, right now. So the 400 Commercial Drive, as we discussed last week or last month, is under consideration by DEP for extension of their waste management license. That would include the increased throughput overall and the expansion of their household, putrescible waste, food waste essentially. In that facility, the same uses and expansions that were denied by this commission last year.
Yeah.
But it's, they require DEP permitting and town permitting. DEP had a hearing. We petitioned to be heard and submitted our objections, and request that DEP force the applicant to go through and respect local permitting as well. It does not appear, based on the preliminary draft opinion, draft decision that was put out last week by DEP, that they are going to pay us any mind at all. Meanwhile, they continue at 400 Commercial to be processing those things in violation of the town standards. We issued them a new reminder of their violation. A couple weeks ago, we received a letter last week, basically by the applicant kind of playing dumb and saying, hey, we thought we were okay, which is somewhat infuriating, if I can opine, because they're being deliberately obtuse about the matter. So we're going to remind them that if they disagree with our decision or interpretation, they're welcome to go back to ZBA. And then simultaneously, we will most likely be preparing to challenge the DEP ruling when it formally comes down. But it's one way or another, we're getting attorneys and courts involved, which is too bad.
Okay, and fun.
It's the right thing. Yeah, I was picking up on Highway 80 yesterday and the trucks go by.
Yep.
And with the rock faces carved out, it just creates that wind flow. I picked up half of a construction sized garbage bag of trash yesterday. This stuff just blew off the trucks. A lot of addresses from Madison.
Yeah, of course. All right. Plus they drive too slow for me, so.
So that's that update. I don't know if anyone has any other questions about that.
Go get them.
Yeah.
Okay. On a somewhat more positive note, we are now under contract with an online permitting service provider called it's Brightly Software, is the company, and the software package is called SmartGov. We're going to be having a kickoff introduction to sort of our implementation manager next week. So that's gonna get underway. So we're migrating over to an online platform over the next probably 6 to 8 months. So it's good stuff. And then
John, what day?
what day is the kickoff?
Yeah.
There's a meeting, just a brief 15 to 20 minute meeting on Wednesday morning. If you want, I can forward you. Are you interested in jumping on?
Yeah. You know me.
Okay.
I got a medal.
Zoe, I don't know if you got it. I'll forward it to you as well. You'll be in the office at that time. Um, okay. Yeah, happy to do it.
Thank you.
And then finally, commissioner training, just again, a reminder. If you have not gotten your 4 hours of commissioner training, the deadline is the end of this calendar year. So less than 3 months to go. And so there are upcoming training opportunities, and we can forward that calendar to you. But I would reinforce that really I think probably the best option is to watch the pre-taped webinar series that was put on by Yukon Clear back in February, I think, and those are available on demand on the Yukon website. So if you still need your training, please let me know and I can send you the link again.
If you could resend that, that'd be helpful. I'm on the waiting list for the one that was supposed to be coming up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Do you
these
know
are,
if they're going to have another one of those? Weekdays are very difficult for me to attend a live in-person thing because of my
Yeah.
business.
yeah, no, sure. Well, these these 3 sessions, which are hour and a half, and you can I believe probably watch them at 1.5 or 2 times speed if you need, um, are available on demand. So you watch them whenever you want, Fred.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll resend that link. And then a reminder to, once you have completed them, please email Zoe and me, because we are the ones responsible for reporting it out. And it actually doesn't get reported out to the state. It actually just gets reported out to the Board of Selectmen. But we do have to report to them that the commissioners have received training.
Interesting.
All right, thank you.
So I'll send that out. I think that's all I've got. Zoe, anything you want to add about good stuff we've been doing?
No, I think you covered all the the major things. Yeah.
So Zoe wrote her first notice of violation this week, so that was exciting.
Yep, did. Sent another one out to a repeat offender.
I can say I just threw it out, so it's fine. Anyway, sorry. On to item 2, POCD. And Marion, you're up.
Sorry, my screen just moves around when it wants to. We pretty much finished transportation, and are moving on to natural resources. So that's the first Wednesday of the month. I'm assuming that won't take too long, hopefully. And I think there's only a couple items after that. We had hoped originally to have some kind of like a public hearing midway in November, but that just doesn't seem to have worked out. Too many other meetings plus the election. So we may need to discuss whether we want to do I don't want to call it a public hearing, but maybe a public meeting before we
forum.
finalize it. Yeah, forum. I think Alan really wanted to do that. On the other hand, it would be really good to finally get this done so we can move on to some other things. But we're plugging along. I don't know if John, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, no, I think it would be nice if we could assemble sort of our draft goals, and then kind of roll that out for some public reaction before sort of everything gets locked down.
Okay.
So yeah, I would suspect maybe late winter, early spring.
Ready?
And at the end, we're still going to have to do kind of a most important list, because there's a lot of goals, and you can usually only do, if you're lucky, a couple of them a year. So it will be interesting to see if we can prioritize. But that's all I have right now.
Anybody got questions? If not, I'm going to go on to item 3, attorney. Nothing.
No, nothing. Even just they're more involved than they had been over the last couple of years, because of the 400 commercial stuff.
Okey-dokey, item, 4, chairman. I had nothing, sorry.
Not
Um,
even that you're happy to be back in person, Tony?
I'm so happy I was up here in the dark, figuring out lighting, why I'm too close to the screen, running the stuff on my phone,
When,
locked out of the computer.
on Monday, I'll run it back down to, or maybe before the next meeting, I'll run it back down, to the main room.
Actually, this isn't terrible, I think. I mean, it needs some work. It's a little awkward in the downstairs too, because, it's not a great spot for this. We need a new town hall. Can we work on that?
Was it on the list?
I think it was on the list. That might have to be first.
Yeah, we're gonna move everything over to the school, right? Kick all the kids out?
That was
Well,
fine.
it's closed anyway, so.
All the plan.
Right, which school, like the one that's a mold or?
Yeah.
Oh, God, all right, we're off the rails here, back into focus here, item 5, budget. We're good, right, I mean, nothing's,
Yeah, no update.
okay. Item 6, Rivercog Housing Committee,
The meeting was canceled last month, so nothing to report. The next meeting is 2:00, on the 24th. And I think I think you're gonna talk about inclusive zoning, aren't you?
Inclusionary?
Yeah. Do you remember? That was a long time ago when that was discussed to be on the
Yeah,
agenda.
no, I don't remember. I hope someone sends me a reminder that I'm scheduled to speak.
Yeah, it'll probably come up Monday, right?
Yeah.
I know, I'm supposed to talk about the housing authority. I took all these notes. I talked to them over there, our housing authority.
Yeah.
That was 2 months ago. I don't remember everything.
yes, that's, oh my God.
It's gonna be a pretty scant report.
Oh, all right,
That's all I have.
okay, item 7, payment of bills,
No bills recent.
it's always good, they'll be coming though, now that we have, 400 Commercial Drive. Item 8, adjournment, anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, second,
Aye.
thank you, Stan, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Alrighty, thank you, guys. John,
Thanks,
can you
Tom.
hang out for one
Good
sec?
night.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and Zoe, if you don't mind. So,
No
let me
problem.
hit this, stop,
Yeah. Stop the recording, my man.
if I can figure it again, give me a second here.
I'm hovering over the button right now if you don't want to do it, Tom.
Stop recording, look at